Welcome to episode 22 of Rebels Without a Pod, the show that dares ask the question, so who else grew up with a boomerang? My name is John.
Right here.
Right there. Joining me tonight, Andy, who does our artwork and graphic design.
What's up?
Yeah. Naveen on audio and music production.
Hello.
And back from a week in Ireland, Pod McDaddy Eric, a.k.a. Tender Greens.
Howdy.
just bringing that end of the rainbow energy.
It's very Irish greeting people use with each other. So
right, that's just when you see people just walking down the street at Temple Bar.
I hope you feel enriched. That's all I can contribute to this podcast.
I think that's in Gaelic, actually, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it Gaelic? Yeah,
I think so.
You didn't hear like the 4 R's and like 6 J's and 12 Y's.
Ho!
All right. Today we begin our new film cycle, Superior Sequels, the 1981 post-apocalyptic action classic, The Road Warrior. We usually do like a little banter up top, but this is a brand new cycle for us, and this is such a massive movie that I think we're just going to jump right into it. Superior Cycles. Eric, why did you actually pick this thing?
I was inspired. I was rewatching the original Star Wars trilogy with my son, and we were coming up with different ideas for cycles that we wanted to do for movies. And after watching Empire Strikes Back, I was moved. I hadn't watched it in years, and I was like, you know what? Goddamn, this is a great idea for a theme, because it's like, how many movies aren't there where you watch the original? The original's classic. It's good. You don't touch the original, but then they come up, extra money, extra time to think about it. They just come and give you something new, polished, different, in often cases better. And with this,
something that iterates very effectively on kind of whatever.
Oh, definitely. Empire, just blew me away as a kid, and even as an adult, watching my son see it for the first time, just tears to my eyes.
Nice. I remember like seeing that. It was a movie that I was like growing up. I was like a little bit freaked out by it, like in when it was kind of on the younger side. But I remember when we were in high school in the mid '90s, when they did those theatrical re-releases. Seeing New Hope in the theater was fun. Seeing Jedi in the theater was fun. But Empire Strikes Back, I remember just being pushed back into my chair, just completely breathless the entire time.
I was going to say they barely touched that one, as far as I remember, in terms of
also true.
Yeah.
In terms of the goofy George Lucas bullshit that was sort of kind of
no weird shit there.
Well, so for Superior Sequels, like I want to talk like a little bit kind of behind the scenes for kind of what we do in the show. When we a few months back, when we did our sort of discussions about the different themes that we could do for the show, and like the voting for it. One of the things is for each of these themes, we spend like a little bit of time talking about, okay, for this theme, when we say something, what does this particularly mean? What are the rules or kind of restrictions we're going to place for ourselves when we kind of pick a movie for like a particular cycle? Now with Superior Sequels, we had a little conversation. There was a couple things that we decided on. One, did not necessarily have to be like an immediate sequel to whatever like the first one in the franchise is. I mean, there's always kind of rationale for kind of letting the theme be kind of loose in that way. Third Lord of the Rings movie is like the most kind of like acclaimed and like award-winning of the bunch for the Star Trek franchise. But most people kind of feel kind of Star Trek 4 is like kind of like the best of that set. For me personally,
Back to the Future 3 too, by the way, because they had Cowboys and Trains.
Cowboys and Trains.
Who doesn't like Cowboys and Trains?
Well,
I can't think of anybody.
For me, it was Friday the 13th, and thinking about like the 10 movies that they've made. Jason X, 10th movie.
Oh God, they just keep getting better and better with that.
Just Cowboys and Trains, Jason in space. Wonderful.
I mean, if they made a Western with Jason in it, hot damn. I'm down. Like sign me up. That, whatever the 13th or 14th movie in the series.
I heard there were some pretty good kills in that one.
Amazing kills. Yeah. Because here's the coolest thing about like the kills they had. They were all set in space.
Oh man,
I heard there was a sleeping bag filled with puppies in a pup tent, and he just wailed on that.
You're very, very close to the real thing.
They all had little like sombreros on, and then he just wailed them against a cactus because you know it's Western theme. And
and then John Wick comes out blazing.
My puppies.
My puppies.
My puppies. I feel like we're going to be saying that like a lot during this episode. So that was kind of one thing we decided: superior sequels. Doesn't have to be the number two. It can kind of be whatever. The second and more interesting, I kind of think, decision we made about the cycle was that we said the criteria of what makes it superior, the criteria of what makes the chosen movie better than the original, entirely up to like the host actually kind of like picking up the film. You can go with sort of like the more sort of broad kind of conventional wisdom about kind of what makes a movie better, or it can be a personal and subjective thing. Just so long as kind of like during like the episode itself, the host who picked the movie can make at least some kind of argument, like in defense of the choice. Now,
yeah, that was my preface for this. I was like, it's completely subjective. If we go off of, go online, what are like the best sequels or whatever, I feel like it's harder to make an argument, especially because it's like we grow up with some of these movies.
Sure.
We have that like the nostalgia glasses on. There's just certain things that speak to us about why something's superior. Yeah. So why go off of what everybody else thinks?
And why put that down for like the sake of kind of talking about some art that we're passionate about? So why sort of leave that up to kind of like the vagaries of sort of kind of just whatever kind of number or whatever kind of collective opinion you can find about these movies.
I was going to say, hence my choice, by the way. I've been mentioning it to people. I was like, hey, Return to Oz. I thought this was such a great idea for superior sequels.
Right.
And I think everybody I've mentioned it to, they're like, first of all, they're like, what movie? And then I have to clarify. I'm like, it's that movie with that woman that has like the collection of heads that she replaces her heads, and they're all in display cases. And then people are like, why would you do that? Why? Don't go back to that place.
Why would you pick this movie individually, and then why would you pick this movie through the lens of this is better than Wizard of Oz?
The original. Have you gone back and watched Wizard of Oz lately?
Let's put a pin in that. This is going to be like the most like your episode coming up. I'm so excited for that conversation. Here's the thing: all four of us have kind of picked our movies at this point. The Road Warrior, tonight's movie. This was Naveed's choice. What's very, very interesting to me is out of the four films that we picked, by any kind of broad measure, Naveed's choice is the only one that you really can't argue against by any kind of reasonable criteria. Obviously,
we'll see, John.
It can still be a personal or subjective thing, but if you talk about sort of kind of like critical acclaim, you talk like immediate and long-term commercial success, you did talk about like the absolutely just massive cultural footprint the Road Warriors have. Like this is the only undisputable one, I think, like out of a bunch. So I think it's maybe kind of good we're leading. We're sort of leading with this. It gives us I think it's kind of good for kind of leading us into like the topic a little bit. So The Road Warrior, 1981, synopsis in brief. Let's see what I got here. Negotiations over municipal resources reach a stalemate, escalate into multi-stage vehicular combat, and ultimately interrupt some old-fashioned tent fucking. The Road Warrior is a futuristic.
No puppies were harmed in the fucking of that tent.
Oh, I think that's my favorite one yet, Johnny.
I stop doing the bit as soon as soon as it gets old. You guys let me know.
And here's the best part. This is all audio, by the way, so nobody can see just like all the visuals on John's end. It's just as a tent, and then he has like little stick figure hand fingers walking towards it. And
I did like a whole old school vaudeville pantomime. That's why it's really getting a reaction. Just this is yeah. Maybe we have the ball someday. We'll make this like a video medium, but not quite yet. I think The Road Warrior is a 1981 futuristic dystopian action film directed by George Miller and starring Mel Gibson. This is a direct sequel to the 1979 film Mad Max, and the second installment in a 5-film franchise that also includes Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, 1985, Mad Max Fury Road, 2015, and Furiosa: A Mad Max Saga in 2024, all also directed by George Miller. The Road Warrior was a hit, both critically and commercially. It grossed triple the previous movie, just an immediate American box office, and enjoyed a long life as a cable and home video staple. It was nominated for a variety of genre awards on release, and currently holds a 94% positive rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It became a major cinematic and cultural touchstone, and was a huge influence on many of the action and most of the post-apocalyptic films that followed, as well as an influence on countless comics and video games. 3.5 stars from Roger Ebert, who writes, "What is the point of this movie? Everyone is free to interpret the action, I suppose, but I prefer to avoid thinking about the implications of gasoline shortages and the collapse of Western civilization, and to instead experience the movie as a pure sensation. The filmmakers have imagined a great fictional world. It operates according to its special rules and values, and we experience it. The experience is frightening, sometimes disgusting, and, if truth be told, very often exhilarating. This is incredibly skillful filmmaking, and I found The Road Warrior to be a movie like no other." So yeah, general impressions. Naveen, let's start with you. Why was this your pick for the cycle?
I just remember really liking it as a kid. I kind of picked this over. I know about Fury Road was mentioned as well, because that was a really good one as well. But I picked it over that because just the look of it, the feel of it, it really had that apocalyptic dystopian feel much more than I think Fury Road did, because cinematography has changed with CGI and all those things, and this just really gave that barren wasteland. And it was just the one that brought you into the world of Mad Max. The first one was it wasn't quite there. It was the beginning.
It was an indie hit, but there was also kind of forests and diners, and there were still trees and things were kind of
It wasn't just that. Right. Yeah.
And
it seems like it really was one of the starting points of a lot of dystopian movies that we get to nowadays, or TV shows. Some of the things they've taken from Mad Max.
Yeah. Did you watch the first one, by the way, recently?
I did. I watched it after I watched Road Warrior, just to check it out. I started
and that
Thunderdome.
Confirmed all your thoughts about this?
What's that?
So based on your viewing of Mad Max 1 and then Mad Max 2, which did that confirm your decision that that's the superior sequel is Road Warrior?
After watching it, I still like Road Warrior better. Mad Max 1 was still good, but there was parts that were slow, and then in the first one, and then I mean, it's typical 80s, but his wife playing saxophone in the beginning was just that's just happening.
If Miller had only made Mad Max, which interestingly, he retired from his career as a doctor, start directing films instead. But everybody's I think I might be the only one here who hasn't sort of seen the original Mad Max. I've read quite a bit about it. Everybody's just has kind of said it would still be an interesting kind of Australian indie film, lo-fi cop drama. It would be the kind of thing you would discover in high school if you had kind of cool sort of movie nerd friends. But
I like that you bring that up, because when I watched it, again, it feels old, older 80s, low budget, or actually it was 79. What am I saying? But still, it has that vibe at the time of movies. But it was when they cut away sometimes, or they transition to different scenes and stuff, it would be kind of biker crashes in the back of a car, it explodes. The bronze looks over and he's just damn, that must sting. And then it just does this music where it fades out, where it's and then transition a new scene, and I was just whoa, okay, what happened here? It's an ongoing drama or something like that. Maybe it wasn't but it was just
Yeah.
And then a rainbow comes up and just goes, "The more you know."
Yeah. Don't drive under the influence in a pre-apocalyptic wasteland.
So revisiting this was did you find yourself, Naveen, when you kind of watched this again recently, did you find this kind of enjoying it more or less as much than your memories of being a teenager?
I was probably a little younger than a teenager when I saw it. But yeah, I mean, now through the lens of adult and supposedly a little bit smarter than I was back then, it, you see things that like, that doesn't make sense why it happened, or that, what's going on there? That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you just suspend your belief when you're watching it younger, but it still holds up. It's still just a lot of fun. Maybe a little more comical at points now, considering there's parts you're just like, that was totally dumb.
Right.
But
well, I mean, there's a very, very limited number of kind of funny bits in the movie, but like the bits that are funny are like Looney Tunes funny. I think we can kind of get into like more like.
I love the eyes, by the way.
Oh man,
that is a carryover from the first one, so I feel like they were just kind of like, hey, for you, those of you that watched the first one, we'll do like the goofy popping eyes at like the beginning of like the.
This is when like the corpse kind of falls out of the truck, and it's just kind of like
it's like bong.
It's Romero thing.
Yeah. It happens a couple of times in the first one.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Every time it's like somebody's about to crash into something, it does close up of the guy about to crash into
yeah. Andy, how was watching this? How was watching this for you?
So I also watched both. I had never seen the original. I thought I had, but I definitely had never seen it. And so I wanted to make sure that I had that as a counterpoint for, I guess whatever argument I came up with about whether or not it was a superior sequel or not. I would say The Road Warrior is, by all measures and in every conceivable way, the better movie. That being said, the original is not bad. It's just a completely, it's like,
it's a different animal.
Yeah, they don't even, it feels like they don't even inhabit the same world. They're just so vastly different that I don't think you can compare one to the next. But if I had to pick one, I would say yes, definitely a superior sequel. Also, just a kick-ass movie with a lot of explosions, which is all that I really need. And there's boobs too, so it's a win for everybody.
Boobs are good.
Yeah, Papa, how about yourself?
So yeah, I mean, I agree with the guys. I did watch the first one as well. The only Mad Max movie I ever saw before was what the hell is it called? The third one.
Beyond Thunderdome, which
Thunderdome, yeah.
Everybody has kind of seen a ton because it's a bit less violent. It supposedly was like a very sort of very
probably not boobs in that one. Maybe no boobs. That's probably why my parents let me watch that one.
Yeah.
They were like, watch this is really good. And then I watched it and had no fucking, idea what I was watching. So I'm like, oh, look, that was fun. Crazy. And then the kids, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens when I rewatch that one. But what I thought about is I watched the original one. It has the cheese factor all over it. I liked the concept of it, by the way. I mentioned this to you guys earlier. It has that kind of Judge Dredd kind of feel. They have the cops, which are the Bronze. And then they're fighting against the Skags, which are just like the nomads or whatever.
This is Toe Cutter and his gang.
Yeah, Toe Cutter and his gang, just kind of going out, doing bad shit. And so I liked that idea, but it was so predictable. Like you could see that, the Mad Max's buddy, Goose got in some trouble, and then he got his ass roasted. And so then, Mad Max retires, and then he's like, I'm just going to take 2 weeks off and think about if I'm going to go back to being a road warrior again. Yeah. And then you just know something's happened to his wife, his kid. Right. And so the thing I did like, though, about seeing that before seeing the sequel is because, Road Warrior is a direct sequel. And I just thought that they took the original where it ends, where Mad Max is, right? It's just like, he lost his wife and his son to nomads. He's fucking broken man. Lost his
best friend to just explosions.
Goes back, gets revenge, disappears into the outback because it's Australia. So he goes and I don't know, jump ropes with some kangaroos. You can cut that. And then he's gone with the interceptor. He fucking drives away. And then he just turns up in the sequel, and you're like, this guy's seen some shit. And he's got a dog. He's got the leg brace because he got shot in the knee at the end of the first one. And
also, he's missing like a sleeve on one of his arms because he broke his arm. Like that's also like another bit of continuity they kind of like I think worked in there.
Possible.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of stuff happened in that time. The world went to shit, oil companies and all that kind of stuff. Just kind of, it's a lot changed. Mad Max changed.
Right.
So I don't know if I like the fact that there was, bigger budget, a little more gloss to the movie itself. I told you guys when I watched on Max, they show it in 4K. So it looks pristine. It's like
gorgeous,
the best version of
it. That's what so jumped out for me, and especially I look for it like after the comment that you made. But it is a hold on, I have like the name of the guy there. Dean Semler was the cinematographer who worked on Road Warrior, and he did, I think, an astounding job with this movie. He actually eventually went on to win an Academy Award in 1990 for filming Dances with Wolves.
Oh, no way! Wow,
very talented, very accomplished guy. But like just obviously like all like the action scenes are like amazingly filmed. But I also thought even like the scene where kind of where Max and the gyro captain are up on the cliff, just kind of watching Gastown as like the sun is going down, like the color and the dynamic range. It's just absolutely breathtaking footage.
Yeah. I mean, in the first one too, it does have that really kind of rough, low budget feel, kind of like an indie film or something, which I think kind of adds to that world. But I'm fine with this. We'll jump forward 5-10 years in the future, and Mad Max has gone his own way, done some stuff, and now he's back, and shit just getting crazy again. He's got to tangle with the nomads, and
he's back. It's kind of been implied that he's sort of completely insane. I like kind of like the detail that sort of it's heavily implied when he's trying to leave, and he's having the argument with, I think it's a Papa Gallo, like the guy who's like leading Gallo. Yeah. There's this undertone in the conversation of what Papa Gallo was saying to Max is like, you are much more like the people outside than the people inside right here. Like,
dude, he's eating dog food out of a can. That guy is clearly
he's not giving any of the captain, even though he brought his big special spoon.
Yeah, I know. Hey, gyro captain, this is my spoon. You get your own spoon.
Oh, that was great when he pulled that out of his jacket.
I love it. The dog's eating out of the can, and then afterwards, he just goes over and gyro captain's eating what's left. Sorry, bastard.
It's such a great performance. Like, just I think Bruce Spence is the name of the actor. It's just every single thing the gyro captain does is really funny. For me, I had watched this movie probably around middle school, probably like a shitty copy, like on Betamax, and I was kind of realizing, watching this again last night, I don't even remember sort of like big chunks of this movie. So like for last night watching this, I basically decided like this counts as like a first time watch for me. And I really like just loved it through and through. It's everything we've been talking about, just how kind of stark and original and specific like the setting is, how gorgeous the cinematography is. Like I just think that the fights and the vehicle stunts, and this is what's so wild to me. And Naveen and I kind of touched on this briefly in the last pod, but there's no CGI in this movie. Everything is stunt work. Everything is kind of practical effects. Something that I really appreciated watching it this time is that the world is, and Fury Road obviously is kind of praised for sort of similar, but it does a bit of a similar thing to obviously Star Wars or Dune or the Spider-Verse movies, where just about all of the background characters are everybody is so unique. Everybody has like a different look, a different style, like a different like particular vibe. Like I love the fact that as they're kind of telling the story, that's for the Gastown inhabitants and for like the wasteland, the wasteland gangs, you get the sense that Miller and his screenwriters knew you could have a character like in the background kind of saying nothing, but you get the sense that they knew exactly who this person was, what they're dealing with, what kind of their character and like their kind of emotions are, like what their sort of backstory is, and just a thing that I just really loved about the just about like kind of the look and the feel of the movie is that you just there's a million action movies out there, but it could have just been just a quiet, dramatic story of just kind of people sort of sitting around Gas Town and talking about how we came here, what our life was kind of like before the apocalypse. Similar kind of thing to some of the things like the Wasteland Gangs. Like it's so a crazy and sort of kind of real feeling and kind of fleshed out world that I was just completely just blown away by it the entire time.
I was going to say, I mean, look at how big a hit Star Wars was at the time. That was a huge thing at the time and what movies could do. And so I'm sure they took some inspiration from that. I felt when I heard the music in the film as well, I definitely got like Star Wars vibes. I mean, especially it was towards the beginning, but also towards the end as well, when they had like the big showdown and stuff. You could hear some of that coming through, and I was just like, okay, yeah, you can see where some of their influences lie.
No, absolutely, yeah. When you watch the original Alien movie, just coming out like a couple of years, I think, after Star Wars, very, very similar kind of thing like that. That was was a jumping off point for so much of what kind of sci-fi and action films kind of then became, like in like the years to come.
I was going to say too, I had to look this up because for like the first 10 minutes, I was like, Mad Max didn't say one word. And I guess he only had 16 lines of dialogue. I didn't go back and check this, but I heard online 16 lines of dialogue because I'm like, he's really quiet. You know, you can tell he's going through some, you know, shit mentally or whatever. He's gone by this point. But that really helps the world and the character shine. And so that's why I think that kind of adds to what you're saying is just like they put a lot of work into the characters, but to get the full effect of what they bring and fleshing them out, you see that come through when Mad Max is because kind of like he's the thing that's leading the story along, even though he's the main character.
Right.
It's about everything going on around him, and then you get to experience it through their lives.
Kind of like it's full of conscious. He's just a weird, just kind of like almost sort of blank slate, kind of like piece of just kind of chaos and violence and entropy at the center. But he's not really. I mean, it's again, which is I think an inferior version of this movie would have done something very different. Because in this film, Max is presented with a surrogate kid from the feral child. Max is presented with like a surrogate wife and like the really hot medicine woman that they kind of swear up like a few times. Max is even kind of presented with like an alternate friend in like the gyro captain. And in all three cases, he's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm going to do the thing I need to do. Then I'm going to vanish because
I got my dog.
I got my dog. Well,
we eat out of the same dog food cans.
Yeah. Doesn't want any attachment to anything or anyone.
Yeah. He's so just completely sort of broken and insane by it. Okay, so why don't we move on? Lovin had a couple questions for us. So why don't we start with why is oil such a hot commodity in the apocalypse? Could this have been about a different scarce resource?
You know what I picked, by the way? I just have to say because I want to get dibs on it. I picked shade.
Shade.
It's fucking hot. You're in the desert. Nobody has like fans or air conditioners.
No sunburn cream, no aloe.
Yeah, exactly. Get these people some shade. We need some more trees.
Right.
That's actually a really interesting call. That's a good choice, Eric. I like that.
Thank you.
Didn't even occur to me.
Pool.
Give them a pool. Yeah. Give these guys a pool. We need kiddie pools for all these miscreants.
Sports drinks, electrolytes.
LED lights. That's what we need. They just keep on giving back.
So I have a hot take on the hot commodity piece. I think so. The reason that oil is such a big, important thing in this world is because without it, everyone would be riding around on bicycles in assless chaps, and that's a terrible combination. So they need to be able to sit in the nice, cozy, car seats, not bicycle seats. I don't think there is anybody that would prefer to see an assless chaps bicycle race over an assless chaps car race.
That's a tough call. That's a tough call.
Yeah.
We got kind of enough, like enough of that with sort of Wes and the Golden Youth, like on that one bike.
Is he called the Golden Youth?
He's called the Golden Youth in this movie.
I was just calling him the Gimp the whole time. I didn't know what else to call him.
I think they're interchangeable. To be honest with you.
Okay. The GIMP.
And actually, the more I'm thinking about it, what is it? The rule of 34? The internet rule of 34. Have you ever? Are you guys familiar?
No. If you can think of it, there's a porn of it.
Yes, exactly. So, and I guarantee that there's a assless chaps bicycle porn floating around, floating out there somewhere. So maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of stuff taking place in tents.
I would ride that bike.
Yeah. I think considering how often the characters are just swarmed by flies and bugs throughout this movie, I don't know if any of you noticed it, but it was I couldn't help but notice it. I think they probably could have done the movie about the one remaining functional fly swatter in Central
bug spray. I mean,
bug spray. Yeah, that works. Citronella candle.
The one can of Raid that they're sticking out like the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah. I'd fight over that.
Yeah. Naveen, what do you think for this question?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously they went in the beginning and talked about the black fuel and whatnot being the scarce thing, but by the time the apocalypse happened, and again, it goes with my motive, and of course, the one person being the thing, it'd be food. Like, I would like some food.
Exactly. I put down food and water. I don't know why water's like the obvious one. You mentioned pool.
Where do they get your water from?
Yeah, pools are great. Yeah.
There's no place that they're going to get fresh drinking water in the desert, or even not fresh that they could boil. Where the hell is it going to come from?
Yeah. You figure
Water
that would
world.
It's very difficult to kind of drive dehydrated.
Got a little machine. You just take a little leak in it and just keep recycling the fluids.
Mm-hmm.
And you definitely can't bicycle while you're dehydrated.
Right.
Just saying.
That is true.
Yeah.
Even if you got those chaps on, you got like less wind resistance. Like you still
need the water.
Oh
Johnny.
My God! If you get the assless chaps and you get the world's last fly swatter, there's a porn for that.
You're a king in post-apocalyptic Mad Max world.
Seriously.
So my thinking for this question, like, having watched, the not the first, but like 4 movies that kind of came after. Like there's 4 things that are kind of that are sort of scarce in the apocalypse, that people sort of just kind of tussle over at different points in like those movies. Just oil is the obvious one in this one, but there's also this comes up in like the late in Fury Road and Furiosa. Ammo is like another sort of big struggle. They touch on like
ammo. That's a good one.
Water is actually something that's kind of addressed in like both in like a bit like in Fury Road, but actually quite a lot like in Furiosa, kind of relative to what we're talking about. And Victoria's Secret models, just kind of access to those.
We should have set this up like Family Feud or something like that. We could have just like split like 2 and 2. Number 1 hot commodity in the
Zoe Kravitz. Close to Zoe. But like for me, thinking about this question was, I just kind of want to call out briefly like the things that kind of seem sort of kind of oddly in excess in kind of like the Mad Max kind of post-apocalyptic kind of future times, and that's sporting goods, bondage gear, and hair care products. Everybody seems to have like excessive access to for like kind of one reason or another. Everybody's got shoulder pads. Everybody just is kind of well equipped to hunt. Like
I couldn't help but be pulled out of the world by the fact that, to your point, John, they were all wearing American football shoulder pads.
Right.
Where the fuck did they come from in Australia? They don't have American football, at least not that I'm aware of anyway, in Australia.
If they have it, it's probably called something very,
Andy,
very
Dick's is worldwide. You know this.
Yeah, I guess.
Dick's in Sydney. Come on, it's huge.
You're right.
I like
there's Dick's all over the world.
Punks all seem to have access to kind of just fresh and varied hair dye.
Yeah.
But it's not Dick's down there. I mean, they have to change the name. They have to change it to Scrotus.
Scrotus.
Scroti.
Scrotium.
We really should have that conversation on mic now. Our listeners would just be confused. Moving on. And again, it's a thing you kind of put out of your head, and it's just so kind of standard to us now, because almost like literally every post-apocalyptic set movie, and TV show and comic book and video game and all the rest of it, like almost all of them draw some or most of their inspiration from this movie. So just like the idea that, just all these kind of people are kind of going around and sort of kind of colored mohawks and looking like they're part of like the New York 70s kind of Greenwich Village bondage scene. It's just it's something we kind of like take for granted as just a trope of what these movies actually look like. But it's wild when you think about it.
Yeah, I thought about for a good period of time, like, how does Wes like shave everything around the mohawk? I mean, it's post.
Isn't there like a very brief scene where you actually see one of the other guys just kind of like just
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it was? Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like a shard of glass or something like that. Or
right. I like the idea though, like the gang carries around like a couple sort of bespoke barbers, kind of like just tied to the front of the truck.
yeah, I was like, they should all have like mustaches and beards, just scraggly beards and
dreadlocks.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But everybody's styled. Everybody is just kind of serving like that. Everybody has their own kind of unique setup and just kind of colorful layout.
You know what? They should have just like took away like the nomads, like cars and trucks and everything and refinery, and just give them like a runway and just let them go.
Yeah.
And that would be the end of human civilization. Just endless runway battles.
Yes.
I don't think we're too far off at this point, Eric.
It's coming. It's coming. Yeah.
It feels. I mean, like in the intro crawl of the Road Warrior, trying to explain kind of like the transition from like Mad Max to like, well, things are kind of shitty, but we just got diners too. No, everything is dark and broken and kind of fucked up. It's just some of the voiceover was just talking about the leaders talked and talked, but nothing was actually done, or or the fetishization of machines and technology, or the just like this whole kind of thing sort of being like a house of cards. It's I kind of found myself sort of like nodding around to them like that.
Dude, that part with the narration, and then how do you kind of build off of the first movie, and they start right out the gate with that. Right. I was like, that's genius. And then the ending when they tie it up, I was just like,
really wasting like no time.
Yeah.
Do they ever indicate how much time has elapsed between movie 1 and movie 2?
It's a good question.
I think
maybe
it's probably
2 years.
I guess it's some lore, or
month and a half.
3 days after the bomb.
3 weeks later, shit's gone downhill.
Honey, get my hockey pads.
I know.
The rapture is upon us.
Well, it kind of could have been, because the gangs were there and the cops were kind of already being pretty brutal with that. Mm-hmm. But even the Hall of Justice was kind of run down, and their office space, and
I think it's
in the
fair.
Ceiling.
They're not far off.
So it could have been fairly close.
It didn't happen. So I mean, this is really a great segue, like into Naveen's next question, which is what's the biggest plot hole or the most implausible scene? I'll speak to my side of this really quickly. Like the thing that kind of struck me is not so much the implausibility of this movie, but the plausibility of like kind of certain aspects of it, where it's just kind of like, if you just kind of just go in times of like how much kind of Mad Max is probably actually kind of aged by what kind of happened like original actor. This is just kind of a couple years off from like the events of the first film. A thing that it kind of got me thinking about like a little bit is just the when they were having the Occupy protests like a few years back. Seattle briefly had kind of a no-go occupied sort of like kind of demilitarized zone, like in like the middle of the city. It kind of lasted for like about a month or so, and I remember kind of reading the coverage at it, coverage of it at the time, and just reading how like people, they wouldn't let like police or military in, but they would let in kind of reporters, and then there's like a bit of kind of record of what was going on there. Supposedly, in like the first kind of week or two of like the occupied zone, it was more kind of a narco-communist. People were just kind of being chill with each other and sharing food and resources and everything else. But by like the time the month ended, like there was literally a warlord, like kind of like just operating like in the middle of the occupied zone. So,
what was that warlord's name, John?
Hot macchiato.
Yeah. Lord Starbuckus.
My puppuccinos. So I'm also implausible to seeing that was kind of it for me. But yeah, just what do you guys think?
Yeah, I was going for the scene where Mad Max finally gets his fuel and he leaves that compound.
Thank you.
And
Thank
it was
you.
just like Mad Max, like he's like looking around every corner, got everything set up. He's got the machete underneath the car if he needs it. He's got the dog. He's got this, and then all of a sudden
He just drives right through the camp,
and he gets caught in 5 seconds and is.
He doesn't even turn his head. He's just driving. It's like somebody behind me. Good.
And then the worst of all is like, all right, the car explodes, and then assless chaps guy is just like, okay, he's dead. I'm see ya. Doesn't even like bother to check. He's like, he's still alive. He's not alive anymore. It's just...
I like how the director went back to like what worked in the first movie to push Mad Max over the edge. He's just like, you know what, loss of his wife and kid. That's it. After that, it's like shit got real. And for this, he's just like, let's just do it with the dog this time. And it's funny how close he is with the dog, right? The dog gets shot, and then he just kind of like, and it blows up his car, and he comes back. He's like, hey, I'll drive that tanker. Hey, are you cool about your dog? I mean, like, your dog, where's your dog? He's just like, it's fine. I get to eat more out of the can. It's all good.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable.
Right.
Yeah, that one hurt my feelings a lot. They kill off.
Yeah, that had to be
that dog. I don't even like dogs, and I love that dog.
Man, kill a dog in a movie, and it just pisses me off. But kill a dog in a movie and have the owner not give a shit about it, like, fuck that guy,
dude. I'm telling you, when you read about that dog too, where they found the dog, like to bring him into the movie and all that stuff, I was like,
the dog was 2 days away from kind of getting.
He's going to be euthanized. And they saved that dog. They gave him like a movie career. He only did this movie, but he got a brief movie career. And I did read this too. The gyro captain, apparently him and the dog connected during the movie. Really? The dog loved him. So the scenes at the beginning when the dog looks like really pissed off and he's like grabbing his arm and shaking him and stuff, they were actually just kind of like filming at weird times. And they told like the guy that played the gyro captain, they're like, just kind of play it up a little and get the dog all riled up. And he did that and they filmed it. But apparently the dog was like licking his face.
You can tell the angry dog bits are kind of like 80-yard in, definitely.
That's why it hurts so much more.
Yeah. Yep.
What's the dog's name? Come on, Max. What's the dog's name?
Just
dog.
Dog.
It was dog.
Yeah, he was a dog, like in kind of real life. Supposedly, like all the crew fought over like adopting him, like after like the shoot actually.
But somebody did end up adopting him from the crew.
Yeah,
like a cameraman or something.
Yeah, like a guy named Max, supposedly, which is amazing.
Oh, that's even better.
Shut up. Was it Mighty Max? Did he have a little tiny house inside a baby's skull?
It was like a cameraman named Max Pepper or something like that. His wife was a dog.
Max Pepper.
Max Pepper.
His dad was a pepper boy. Long line of pepper boys.
But Max, he was the golden goose.
He was the golden goose.
So for me, okay. So Max, like you said, Naveen, Max, drives through this big enemy camp. This is later on in the movie. This is towards the end. Rips the tent off of these two people in the middle of making sweet post-apocalyptic love to one another.
I don't know what the guy's name was, but I would assume the woman was named Sandy Vagina.
Oh.
Put that on Naveen. 86.
Jesus.
The guy's name was Chafed.
Chafe Johnson.
Jace. It's more like a Jeff, but it comes out as a Chafe.
Jafe.
Sandy Vagina and Chafe Johnson.
I think that should be canon from now on. In my world, that is canon from now on. Okay. So these two people are in this tent, surrounded by all this commotion and turmoil and craziness, and they're just going at it like rabbits. I just think about it like if I hear a dog barking in the distance, it pulls me out of the moment, and they're just going at it like they're the only two people left in the world. I found that to be completely implausible. There's no way. No way. Fun fact, though. If you pay close enough attention, the woman that is on top, she initially smiles and like giggles when the tent gets pulled off, and then she immediately catches herself and like falls back into character and scowls and looks surprised and whatever. But there's that initial moment where she's like, "Ha, what? Oh shit! Okay, I'm in a movie." Yeah.
I mean, it's a like all these people are sunburned. I mean, just possibly like irradiated. Like,
yeah.
I was going to say, fun fact: no penetration. That ruined the movie for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing in the Mad Max world. You can't make love. It's just like a lot of dry humping.
My question, I have to bring this up, by the way. This is probably the most implausible thing about the whole movie. Mm-hmm. Why wasn't Max madder? I just expected him to be like really, really mad, but he was just kind of like so mad. So mad.
Like he was like perturbed Max.
Perturbed. There we go. I don't know if I go see perturbed Max, but I think it's more accurate of the character he plays.
So instead of Beyond Thunderdome, you feel like the third movie should have been like Mad Max? Kind of go like the Beetlejuice, like
the maddest Max.
Okay. Any other implausible things? A question about the editing
of the movie.
The final car chase. Did anybody get like a little bit confused and had to rewatch how the car chase kind of ended with like a head-on collision between like the tanker and Lord Humongous's car? That kind of.
I don't know what he was doing there, but that did happen, and I just kind of accepted it. I was like, hey, he just kind of went around in the background that you just couldn't see him off screen, and they just kind of pop back up and.
Right.
But what about the fact that Humongous, in his mind, that tanker is full of gas.
Right.
And a head-on collision like that would most assuredly result in a massive explosion and thus nullifying the whole point of the chase that they've just gone through, which is to get this gas.
So it's not completely clear by the editing. I had to read a bit online. I went back and watched the scene again. It made like a lot more sense. But at one point, Humongous's car breaks down. Everybody kind of speeds off ahead of him. He hits like the nitrous on his car, and he just kind of shoots off like a bullet. Sure. But when the other cars in the tanker further ahead, at one point, the tanker gets sort of flipped around, and he's driving like the opposite direction down the road. And basically, what happens from there is they collide because Humongous is doing like his just fucking like kind of Mario Kart Nitro boost, and they don't see each other over like a small hill. So it's
is that what it is? Really?
Tanker, he's coming up the other way, thinking he's still chasing like the tanker, kind of going the same direction. That's why everything kind of like collide.
That makes a lot because the tanker does do a U-turn at one point.
Yes. But it could have been a little bit clearer, I think, than the way it was actually done.
Yeah. That's interesting. I never thought of it that way. That makes a lot of sense.
Huh. You know what? It's 80s movies, man. I just accept what I see on the screen. That's good enough for me.
Right. It's just that would be my usual thing, but like with everything else in like the movie being so kind of tight and smart and as well constructed as it is, that gave me like a little bit of pause. But it sort of makes sense when you kind of have like that.
Yeah. I mean, when you have those thoughts, just go back to the dog.
Go back to the dog.
Man, they did that dog dirty.
R.I.P.
Right. R.I.P. the dog. R.I.P. Chafe Johnson.
Jafe.
Jafe.
Australia, they have those kind of
of
names.
course.
Jafe.
Yeah. So why don't we take a quick couple minute break, and we'll come back with the lightning round, closing thoughts, and a little store back. Okay, and we're back. So starting off, lightning round. What is your job in the post-apocalypse? And I think we should all answer this with the caveat, the understanding of likely in an actual situation like this, most of us would end up like either like on like the front of the truck or the back of the bike, depending.
Well, that you just took mine. That was it. I was on the grill. I was one of two. They only have 2 openings. So it's an honor to be on the front of the grill.
They can always make more openings, depending.
You know, they lived most of the movie, so I mean, you'll be around a while, I guess.
Hell of a way to go.
I have absolutely no usable skills in a post-apocalyptic world whatsoever. So I'm either like human shield or I am waxing Humongous's chest. That's all I am.
Nice.
You're waxing the chest, but like the little strands on the back of his head. Just like, there's a different guy that does that.
Caressing.
Yeah.
I'm massaging his veins in his head.
Do you ever softly whisper, "My puppy"?
Yeah, my puppy. Yeah.
He's like, Andy, I don't know where you get this baby oil, but god damn it, makes my scalp feel smooth.
It's like the hair dye and bondage gear, I guess. Like, it's like just a big pit somewhere that should have its own movie.
It's all the stuff they got from P. Diddy yesterday.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah.
Too soon?
Well, yeah. Hey, look, how many balls of baby oil did they find? It's like 1,000 bottles.
2,000.
2,000.
Yeah.
Who's counting?
I'm gonna say I'm
starters.
gonna go out on a limb and say not soon enough.
Yeah.
Not too soon. Not soon enough.
Fair enough. Naveen, how about you? What are you doing for work?
I'm a dirt sweeper.
Dirt sweeper.
Yeah, I'd be sweeping dirt.
Sweeping dirt.
Just got to keep the place clean.
Okay.
That's a completely futile job then too, because it's all dirt.
Right.
They just need me out of the way because I'd mess things up.
Here's a broom. Just go over there. Let the big
that
boys
dusty
talk.
thing over there. Yeah, go take care of it.
Go dust some shit.
Right.
Yeah. Papa, what do you got?
You guys took all the good jobs. I'd be a chef.
Chef.
I would take canned goods and I would open the canned goods for people, and I'd pry back the cover and I just stick a fork in it and just give it to them, and there's a meal.
Nice.
Eric took mine, which is a pain in the ass. But
Is it really? Yes.
I would be the chef in competition with Eric, because it'd be like, okay, yeah, you know what? We got the dog food, step one, but we're gonna get like a little fancy. We're gonna throw a little spice on dog food plus this snake. Cuisine. And then Gastown elects me as the chef, and you end up on the back of the bike.
I honestly, I'm good with that. My original proposal for a job was to be a GIMP in training.
Right.
And so
GIT?
GIT. Named Chafe. I mean, I just grow my hair out.
Not the Golden Youth Part 2.
I have my tattoo, says Linda on it.
Actually, Eric's gift name would probably be like the Silver Medal.
He just shows me what do you have, that like little like crossbow or whatever. He'll just kind of wave in front of my face, and then I'll just get like all like flustered but turned on. Right. But I just won't give too much of the game away, and then just.
But you're wearing that nipple shirt, so the game is given away just right out.
The nipple shirt, yeah. Just watch out for boomerangs. You're good.
All right, yeah, it's fun to speculate a bit, but just we would all be dead within seconds of that action.
Yeah, we wouldn't have lasted very long.
Or even just walking through the actual Australian desert. I can't imagine that's a cakewalk. Vigo's Toes trivia. Anything you guys want to shout out?
Yeah, I mean, we did some already, and I guess to continue with the dog theme, I guess James Cameron really liked the movie that he kind of based some of Terminator 1 and 2 on, and then Terminator 2, the dog's name is Max.
Interesting.
Yeah, I saw that too. I thought that was cool.
That's cool.
The small comedic parts in the movie, particularly the bit with the binoculars and like Gyro Captain's huge telescope, but also the thing of like the mechanic and his assistant working on working on the truck, and the assistant would yell to like Papagallo's assistant, and then the assistant would tell Papagallo something. Papagallo was telling the assistant, and just basically like the whole conversation was like the assistants kind of yelling back and forth, and then finally go like the mechanic going like, it's 24 hours. It's 24 hours. He says it's 24 hours. Tell him you have 12. You have 12. He says we have 12. I said, yeah, all right. Coen Brothers actually said it's, George Miller's films, but particularly that movie, particularly that scene, was a major, major influence on how they kind of just think about, kind of construct comedic scenes like in movies.
Well, that scene was kind of an ad-lib scene. It wasn't like written in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it wasn't. It just happened. They filmed it, and they're like, "We're gonna keep it."
Right.
That's
funny. I didn't know that. Yeah,
it's a genius of actors.
That's every software job I've had in like the past decade, where it's kind of like that. That's, you got engineering, you got management, and you basically got like kind of two different sort of co-branded, kind of like a project engineer is kind of actually sort of like kind of talking back and forth like that. You minimally need 4 people to do that kind of work.
We need 3 months to do this. How much time? 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
All right.
Yeah.
Did you turn it off and turn it back on again? Did you turn it off and turn it back on again?
Other trivia.
Yeah, I got one. So this is one I didn't pick up on. If you look at the tanker really closely, there's a 7 on it. It was actually borrowed from Gulf Oil's logo, but I guess in that world, the major oil company was called Seven Sisters Petroleum.
Okay.
And so this only applies to the first 2 movies, from what I understand. And so the director took the name from, I guess, back in the mid-40s up until the 70s, there was like a group of, it's like a coalition of the 7 largest oil companies, and they were known as like the Seven Sisters. These would be like your Texaco, like your Exxons. And so
kind of Greek myth, like the Pleiades, I think.
Yeah, and so what it is, I guess by 1949, they occupied like 82% of the oil reserves outside the U.S., which is insane. And so, yeah, that's where like Miller pulled it from. But also, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So in an old version of the script, this was something I couldn't understand. Why is Papagallo and those guys all out there like in the desert? Like, how did they find like the refinery and they're out there grabbing oil and stuff like that? I guess in an old version of the script, it was written in there that Papagallo used to work for Seven Sisters. And so he actually located a map where it listed where all the refineries are located. And then he just picked the most out of the way one. And then he went up there and set up base.
Interesting.
So I was like, it would have been good to know like how they ended up there, because they were just like, they were in there and they were just pumping away. And it was not like, hey, we're nomads, let's just go figure this out. Like, how do you use any of this equipment? Like, they're in there and they're just extracting.
They seem to know what they're doing. Like, there's mechanics, there's engineers, like things are kind of.
Yeah, there's nobody that's like, hey, I'm the guy that's like the oil guy.
Right.
I know how to work a rig.
And I think that's really one of the genius things about the movies is like it's so understated what happens in the film. Like you said, Mad Max only has kind of 14 lines of dialogue, but you just by watching it and kind of, I would imagine kind of rewatching it, you get the impression everybody has a backstory. Everybody has like a reason that why they're there, why this is like their character, why they have like this sort of vibe or style or personality.
I mean, something also fun too is like Mad Max. 2 of his lines in the entire movie out of 16 are, I only came for the gasoline. This man knows what he wants.
I really like the line that Gallo said to him. It's like, the writing is really kind of quiet and restrained for like the most part, but they Miller and the script writer really could sort of get like a little more kind of elevated when they want. And I love the Papagallo line. When he and Max are having an argument, at one point he just kind of shoots at Max and says, "You're a scavenger living off the corpse of the old world."
Yeah, that's a solid one.
It's a great line.
Yeah.
Andy, what were you saying?
I was going to say, Max, once he gets his gas, has no skin in the game at all.
Pretty much.
I can't, in a world like that, as much as it sounds cold to say, I would imagine your number one and perhaps only concern is self-preservation and survival. The fact that he chose to take up with this random band of nomads or whatever, and defend them and become their, essentially their savior for this short period of time. Like, that to me is a plot hole. Maybe it's because I'm an asshole, but like,
You don't think like it's like a little bit like a John Wick thing? It's like, well, I was just going to walk off, but then they killed my dog, so I just figured like, just fuck it, I'll kind of go back and help.
Maybe
That's what I saw, because the thing is they say like right after they at the very end, you know, they find out that tanker's full of sand, and they're like, oh, let's see what happened. They got away, but the narrator states like they never saw him again after that.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's kind of like, I mean, and that's probably of his own choosing. He's just like, I just got to keep moving.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's also kind of, I think the really the core distinction between like kind of like the Gastown people versus like the Wasteland gang is like the Gastown people have like a modicum of, let's not be complete savages. Let's try to live together. Let's not look completely insane. Let's not act completely insane. Let's, you know, like there's that scene where Max he's got the Charger kind of fueled up. He's kind of pulling out of Gastown, and one of the warriors kind of goes to Papa Gallo. He says, you know, we could kill him. We could take the car. We could take like all the gas we just gave him. And Papa Gallo goes, no, we had a contract. We had like an agreement. Everybody's essentially just kind of like living on the bleeding edge of existence. But that is kind of I think, you know, the clinging to even kind of these small kind of crumbs of civilization is kind of what is supposed to, I think, us. I think that those two sides of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, something I just thought of too. Not building off of that at all. Just a random thought, but I didn't pick up on this in the first movie. Right? There's like the Bronze, which are the police, and there's the bad guys as well. In the second one, it didn't pick up on it, but there are people in the Nomads team with like police helmets on and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like the guy that went to that killed the dog. I believe he had a police helmet on.
Yeah.
And somebody mentioned online, they're like, what if at that scene, the cop shot, you know, Max and killed him possibly, and then he took his helmet off, and then you saw that was actually Mad Max underneath.
Oh.
And then it was kind of like, I don't know what that really means, but I thought that was kind of like a powerful thing. Like maybe that was something that he imagined. Like if he had tried to escape, this is what would have happened. And then they brought him back to the town with the people. And then he reconsidered, and he's like, you know what?
Yeah.
He's kind of like, he's like, I'm going to let go of the person I became. And I just remembered who I once was. And I want to be that hero and accept that. That's how I thought like you could work that in there. And I'm like, that would have been a pretty powerful statement.
Well, I think I kind of mentioned this when we were talking off mic, but in the original version of the script for the Road Warrior, Lord Humongous was supposed to take off his mask at some point, and it was going to be revealed that he was Max's partner from the first one.
Yes. That would have been great too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you guys think?
I mean,
do you think it's a stronger movie if they had done that, or do you think like the movie works a bit better just keeping Humongous?
Do you think people give a shit in the 80s? They really didn't. They're just kind of like, I'm getting the chance to make a movie, and it's about, you know, I worked on the script, I made this thing, I'm just going to get it out there. Sure, I mean, all the other shit comes second, I guess.
So I have three quick things that I want to throw out there. The first one, which is really easy. So I just did a Google search. The prequel comics to Fury Road established that a global nuclear war had broken out and decimated the planet in 3 years. So the time between Mad Max and Road Warrior, supposedly 3 years. Number two, so during the filming of this, Mel Gibson called Vernon Wells, who was the actor that played Wes, quote, barometer bum. Because of the pants that he wore that had the butt cut out. So apparently it was very, very cold on site where they were filming, even though it looks like it's in the middle of the desert and super hot. Apparently it was very, very cold at this point. So when his butt cheeks turned purple, they knew that it was time to pull everybody off the set, put him into a bus with a heater, and warm him up a little bit before they let them go back out.
Johnny, call my name. Call my name, Johnny.
Papa.
It sounds a bit cheeky.
Hey. Oh. He's
Can't laugh
Slap
at
that ass.
he's
Very
that
nice.
folk.
Nice.
And then
Oh, Mel.
finally,
Uh-huh.
from the original movie, so not Road Warrior, but actually Mad Max, the actor that played Toe Cutter is also the same actor that played Imertan Joe in Fury Road.
Really?
Same guy.
Amazing.
Same guy.
That's
Obviously, years in the future, but yeah, same dude.
Sweet.
That's really great.
That's awesome, man.
Two quick bits of trivia from me, and I'm actually going to put this out to you guys. First one: is Mel Gibson actually Australian? If not, where was he born?
I thought you said trivia. What is this?
Yeah.
I mean,
Mel,
that's trivia.
is Mel Gibson actually Australian?
I always
Not
thought he
worth-
was. I'm going
Are
to
you
guess not.
questioning? Is this like a Jamie Oliver thing or something? He's British, right? No. That little scamp's Australian.
He just wants food to be healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you
I'm
think?
going with you.
Australian or not?
You got to watch his Curry music video. Oh my God. Jamie Oliver does this reggae video all about making curry. It is insane. Do
That
yourself a
sounds
favor.
horrible.
He also does like a really deep, like reggae voice. You know what I mean? Like wink, wink, like deep reggae voice.
Yeah.
So yeah, he does not sound white or Australian.
Here's the thing: like in the post-apocalypse, he's going to beat both of us as like lead chef.
Yeah. He's the curry guy. All
Mel
right.
Gibson, not Australian, as it turns out, born in Peekskill, New York, one of 11 children.
Oof.
His father relocated to Australia when they were all young, supposedly after winning a bunch of money at a game show. But the
What?
dude is from the Hudson Valley originally.
That is
Peekskill, New York. You can take like the Hudson line up, just right from Grand Central. I used to go hiking out there.
Look, just because people are contributing like $5 to Wikipedia, it shouldn't allow them to just put whatever bullshit they want on there.
Derek
Jesus.
That makes sense
to
to
believe
play
it.
at 16 lines.
All right, yeah.
Because actually it was Hudson, New Yorkish, and then mixed with Australians. Like, yeah, you can understand what this guy's saying.
Eric, here's
Yeah.
what you should do. Instead of paying for like volleyball camp, spend like $10 on Wikipedia and edit it back to whatever you believe to be true.
He's from Worcester, Massachusetts. And the world just implodes.
All right. Second bit of trivia: highest grossing Australian, purely domestically shot Australian film of all time. Made in our lifetimes, but not recently. Made in our lifetimes, but not recently. It's an irritating one. I'll say it's an irritating.
Crocodile Dundee.
Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah.
Will the Standard Bear a
Of course it is.
$328 million worldwide.
What?
And that's
Wow.
That's 1986, 87 money, like whatever the fuck. It's just
Jeez.
Wow.
That's a
Road
good
Warrior,
one.
like all these movies did, like it just Crocodile 3 until Fury Road basically ate the lunch of every single kind of Mad Max movie that was it.
That's crazy.
That's what we got. Gentlemen, any closing thoughts?
For those listeners out there, watch it. If you just started with Fury Road and Furiosa, you're missing out on some good Mad Max saga.
Right.
I agree. I think it's a superior sequel. I watched the first one and I was like, I'm not a huge fan of this movie, but it's got a lot of heart. Let's see if we can top this. And I thought
A lot of heart.
A lot of heart.
lot
Road
of
Warrior
heart.
was a little better.
Pushed over the pavement.
Yeah. You know what? Give me a cooch full of sand any day. I'll take it.
So for me, I for those listeners that are just joining us for the first time, and these are episodes that eventually we will put out sort of from here and there. But in some of the stuff that we've done previous to this, we've watched movies like The Thing, Big Trouble in Little China, and The Warriors. Okay, and to me, this movie and those movies, and I don't know that I can necessarily define what it is that makes me feel this way, but there's some connective tissue between all four of those movies.
Oh, absolutely.
They all scratch the same kind of itch that the other ones do, and I don't think there's any coincidence that also these are now four movies that all four of us just loved, adored.
Right.
there's just something.
4 of the movies on this show that we have agreed upon the most.
Absolutely, they've all been for us 4 absolute slam dunks. Those and Kung Fu Hustle is another one, but that one doesn't fit the same kind of thing that these do. But
that's its own thing on the other side. Well, yeah, technically Australia is further away, but like point thing.
Indeed. So yeah, there's something there between those movies. There's something about them that we should probably try to explore at some point, and maybe see if we can pull some more stuff out that fits into that general feel. Because we all seem to really enjoy them, and they also generate what I feel to be pretty good, compelling conversation.
I was going to say, I forget who it was that made the point before, outside this podcast, but like 80s movies, an hour and a half long, and giving you this much, like,
yeah,
90 minutes in and out.
You can't top
that. They knew how to do it.
Yeah.
It's for me, this is a year of like really kind of catching up on a bunch of stuff that for me and my interest, all films I should have really seen like a long time ago. Like I mentioned at the top, this I'm counting as like last night, my first kind of real watch of like the Road Warrior. Loved it to death. I had never seen Alien, the original Alien, before. Watched it in this 45-year anniversary, gorgeous restored kind of theater projection a few months back. Incredible. I had never seen Predator like all the way through before, like an uncensored. I had never seen Trouble in Little China. Again, kind of things. 90 minutes, beautifully shot, completely original idea, tight script, just fun at the time, but now just especially just gorgeous to watch, and even the more impressive when you think like this there's no CG, there's no digital kind of like after kind of, it's like this movie in particular is a bunch of just like the craziest shit imaginable happening in the desert. People's asses are kind of turning purple like everything else. It is just it was like those other movies. This was just so much fun. Really enjoyed it.
Just wait till we get to Return to Oz.
There we go.
No CGI, and you're just gonna be like
the heights of how terrifying human creation. Just like this. Yeah.
That goddamn chicken.
I know. All right, so that was that was the Road Warrior, 1981, George Miller. I think very strong recommend for the 4 of us. Let's go to Sorbet.
Sorbet.
So this is a segment Eric and I have been planning to do since. When did we see the show? Like
this was
July.
Yeah, a couple months back. Yep.
Yeah. So Papa and I sort of spent like over the summer. We're lucky enough to kind of spend some extended chunk of time in Japan, and there's a little bit of an overlap in our travels. A thing I've been bugging Eric about for just years and years and years. Like we have to go to a small underground Japanese live house and see a rock or a metal show together.
Dude, this place was a hole in the wall.
Truly.
John told me to meet him in Shinjuku in Tokyo, right? Mm-hmm. And we get out of the station and I start walking and I'm going full stride because it's crowded. There's people everywhere.
A little table setting, Shinjuku, the same area that where with the hotel that Bob and Charlotte stayed at in Lost in Translation. Also the same area, just like Shinjuku is this big, crazy skyscraper in neon plastered. It was also the inspiration for Ridley Scott when he made Blade Runner. It's one of these places that's very the cliche of sort of big, crazy, neon, chaotic Tokyo.
They also have that hotel.
Yeah.
They have the hotel with the giant Godzilla coming off the top of it.
Yeah.
It exists. It's real.
Yeah. I think it's actually on the top of the Toho movie theater. So depending on where you are in Shinjuku.
Oh, really? It's there
you can like look over and you can just see just Godzilla kind of picking up above like the skyscraper.
It's just all over the place. I'm telling you, it's Japan. You got to expect it.
Right. So I'll just kind of turn this over to Eric, but just I told him, let's go to Shinjuku. I got like a venue picked out. I got a couple bands picked out. Please take it away from me.
I'm telling you, this is 2 months back, so you're going to have to jog my memory on some of the stuff, but
sure.
I will do the best I can. So we're at Shinjuku in Tokyo. We leave the station. I'm full stride. And then John's like, it's right here. And I was like, I stopped and turned around and I was disoriented. And I'm like, okay, wait, what? And he points to this like dingy looking door. There's like no markings on it at all. And he's like, it's down there. And I was like, what? So we go over
You
Go
can walk past
inside.
this thing 1,000 times and never think there's
You
anything.
would never.
Yeah, like a hot water boiler.
You walk by, you have no idea what's down there. That's like danger. Like you don't go down there. But John's like, hey, let's go. Let's go see the show. So we go downstairs. We pay for our tickets. John had a reservation, which is, I don't know how he did it, but
I didn't have a reservation.
Yeah. You didn't have a reservation? I thought you said reservation. Or they said reservation, and then you said
I think it said reservation nashi, which may or may not have been correct. Yeah.
Reservation. They're like, no, we're homegrown Japanese.
I try to be polite. Like I just kind of wave my hands, and eventually they're just like, okay, sanzen, and just go inside.
They were just making it. I could understand the Japanese, by the way.
Right.
They're like, how much should we charge these idiots? And then it's like $60 US. It's done. What a deal. Honestly, if it was $60, deal. It was worth it. So we pay whatever amount of money they ask for. We go inside. We get a free drink ticket, which, well, not free exactly, but we get our drink. We're just chilling out, small little bar area. And then as we're just hanging out and talking and stuff like that, John's like, we better get in there. The show already started. And I was like, oh shit. Okay, let's go. So we get inside. The stage area itself, like the room off of the bar, is not that much bigger. I mean, at capacity, you could probably fit like
100 people.
Yeah, like 60, 80 people tops. And even that you're pushing it, because it's not like, I mean, it was a little hot in there. You're sweating. It's hot Japanese summer. And just with all the massive warm bodies. Although, I mean, for the show, that I would say there's probably about,
it was a Sunday night show, so it was like the venue was like a little over half full, like
25, 30 people there, maybe.
Yeah.
Wow.
The median age was probably about mid-50s. That's what shocked me. I was expecting a lot of young people.
Being on the younger side for what was in the crowd, and particularly compared to like who was playing in the band. But
yeah. Something I noticed right off the bat, everybody's wearing like black t-shirts. It's like it's dark already, but everybody's wearing black. And I noticed after, when they finished the first act, that everybody had, the first band to come on was Arc Royale, and everybody had like Arc Royale t-shirts on. So like they were all like swagged up. They were ready to go. So we get in there, and first band, it's called Arc Royale. That was actually my favorite of the two. It was a lead singer who was also lead guitarist, and then like a rhythm guitar, and then a bassist and a drummer. 4 chicks. The best way I can describe it is it's like heavy metal band, but they're all done up kind of. What would you say? Their style?
That kind of idol metal.
It's Lolita metal.
Like if God, Sailor Moon meets Hot Topic a little bit.
Think of like baby metal, maybe.
Sure.
Baby metal, kind of done up. They had like dyed hair, all kind of fucking frizzed out. They had
right.
Some of them had
colors kind of going in weird directions, and it's
one of them had like teal colored contacts, which was kind of freaky, with like the lights from the stage shining off them. But I mean, I don't go to see a lot of rock shows, but they fucking rocked. It was an amazing show. Japanese bands I could compare them to would be like Larkin Seal or Deer and Gray. Just something that's really heavy. I don't know what any of the lyrics mean, so I'm sure they're
heavy, but had really kind of melodic singing, and like the maybe it's like the band arrangements maybe being a little close to Megadeth, of like the lead singer also being the better guitarist of the two, so the lead singer kind of would stop singing and then take like the really kind of fast, heavy guitar solos like from time to time.
Yeah. So first band was awesome. Afterwards, I was like, that I would buy their CD. I thought they were that good. So we went back out to the bar. We had another drink, waiting for the next act. Some people are going to the bathroom, changing shirts, or some wore their other shirt underneath for the next band. And so the next band is like
letting their skin like the caterpillar in spring.
Or Michael
yeah, you could hear the cicadas buzzing in the background, and the sakura blossoms were blooming. It was beautiful.
Not to make a haiku out of it, but there we go.
Something that was great, by the way, is a lot of these guys too had like towels. So they had like
towels are a very big thing.
Towels,
like
aka
also,
like sweat rags.
Also, like merch towels that they bought from the band that would have the band.
Much. This second band was definitely about the merch.
Yeah.
they were like mid-show advertising. They tell like some fun little anecdote or story or something, and then just be like, and by the way, we got new towels. And the guy's like, oh shit, I gotta get that.
Some of the guys start wringing out their old ones and just be like, this is our 2023.
They're kind of rolling them up, smacking each other the ass with them. Right. I didn't want to get involved. It's like a cultural thing. But next band comes on. Next band is called Full Moon.
Full Moon, yes.
Full Moon, yeah, right. Full Moon. First thing I notice, again, it's a makeup, 4 girls, very similar to the first ones. Maybe a little more poppier, I guess.
A little poppier, a little more polished. For sure.
Right, yeah, brighter colors too. They were wearing brighter colors. They stood out more. The guitar. So the lead vocalist is sitting there with this big cardboard guitar.
She comes out holding a cardboard guitar.
She's a cardboard guitar,
the
right?
Has a real guitar. The bass player has a real guitar. She comes out and not like kind of like a cardboard guitar, like a really ambitious child would make. Like,
it had strings. They weren't drawn on. They were actual strings.
Yeah.
And she had a guitar pick too. So she was attempting to play cardboard guitar while they were performing. So imagine that, right? You're the lead vocalist. You're singing to the song, but also trying to actively play your cardboard guitar throughout the whole song.
So there was a break. She kept the cardboard guitar for a couple songs. I think maybe somebody like one of the fans had given it to her. The guitar looked like it could have been made by like a 9-year-old, or it could have been made like by a 50-year-old with a sweaty towel. It's really kind of hard to tell. At one point, they take a break. They're doing kind of like their merch pitch, the way like all these kind of bands have to do. But she starts messing with the cardboard guitar. Then she tosses it into the audience. She tosses the pick into the audience. Then she says something in Japanese. I turned to Eric. I'm like, what did she just say? And Eric says, I think she just said, I can't tune it.
So what it was, right? When she threw the pick out, she went and did the next song. And then like somebody said, hey, play the cardboard guitar again. She had a backup cardboard guitar. So she had 2 of them. So, and I guess that was like the classic. And then this was her new one that she had just brought in. And so somebody said, play the other one. And she goes, I can't. I already gave up my pick, so I have nothing to play it with. And I was like, that's smart. That's smart, because I don't want to see you play that shitty cardboard guitar. Like, I've had enough.
At one point, I think it was probably the second band, might have been the first, but like there was a lot of guys in the audience that had glow sticks, and they usually kind of like
this is where it gets filthy and weird.
They're okay. So do you want to kind of take over?
Yeah, I wanted to give you just like a really dry, drawn out story, just so when I got to this point, it would just flip the switch and you just be like, Jesus Christ, what did you do? And I will say this. I had encouragement from the other people that were present at the venue. It was not wholly my decision to do the things I did, but it got a little weird.
The other people at the venue, not including your friend, John Hayward, who was just drinking a beer.
John does the thing. John is afraid of confrontation, so John disappeared into a corner. He left his drink. He left the glass on the floor.
I don't like audience participation. I have my beer. I'm enjoying the show. That's the level I want to engage with it at.
You know what? It reminds me of this book I read in college called The Box Man, where the guy just had 2 little holes where he peek out with his eyes and he just like watch and jerk off. And I looked over and I saw John. He wasn't completely inside the cardboard guitar, but he was kind of like under the edge of it, and he was really aggressive.
I had a box-like sort of body language, the way I was just kind of standing and holding my beer. I'm just like, Japanese people, you have fun. I'm just going to chill.
I was just going to say John found the pick, and he was applying the pick. So what happens is...
I wish I got that pick.
Yeah, you should have got that pick. I would have killed for that pick. So we're standing there. John mentioned, I don't know what to call this thing. It's the guy that directs planes into like the gate like or whatever. The guardian of the gate with his glowing baton.
The guy who kind of does like who kind of waves planes
in air traffic. That guy.
The guy actually on the landing strip who kind of waves people in with kind of like the 2.
So like that glowy baton that he has, he'll have 2 of them, and he's kind of like over here. This one guy that had them, and both shows he was kind of like I don't know, directing people like planes, and it changed like 3 different colors. And I realized that, like, I guess at a lot of like K-pop shows, people will bring these and they'll just kind of swing them to different songs and stuff like that. But this guy was using it to like direct people, like. And so the second band, what they did is for each song, they had a set of dance moves that you were supposed to learn ahead of time. And then everybody would come in and they'd all perform them in sync. And the guy with the baton looks over at one point at me and John, and he grunts and he takes the baton and he kind of swings it at like John. He's like, "Ugh!" And he looks at me and he goes, "Ugh!" And then he's kind of and then he motions for us to get to the front.
I just kind of look at this guy.
And so I'm looking at John. And I'm like, I'm not going with this man. Like, I refuse to go. And then, like, a split second later, he comes up and he grabs my hand and he pulls me over. And I speak Japanese. So that's something for the listeners to know. I do speak Japanese. I study in college. I try to speak every time I go. And I use Japanese, and it was like I was speaking a foreign language to the guy. He's just like, he's using hand signals, and he's just like, it's like, you. And then what he's doing is, he takes me like by my back and he shoves me into the people in front of me. And it's like a guy and his wife. And I guess people had just rushed the stage at that point. And so one of the things they do for one of the songs is you throw yourself against the people in front of you and you stick your arms out and you try to touch like the people in the band. I know it's really creepy and weird and perverted.
But you're supposed to kind of, I think, implicitly kind of get like millimeters away, but it's supposed to be like kind of like a worshipful.
You do like jazz fingers, and you kind of like sprinkle your fingers towards the band, and they'll come over, and different people in different songs will come over and like touch your hands. Although they came over to me, and the lead singer grabbed my hand and just like shook it, and she's like, "Ah!" And I was like, okay, that was fun. And I'm also like, 20 years older than her, but whatever, it's all good.
Right.
And so then, all of a sudden, I feel somebody grab me from behind, and it's the guy again. He pulls me back, and now he's teaching me dance moves. So I have to put my hands on my shoulders, and then I have to put them above my head, like pointing up, and then put them on my shoulders again, and then I need to swing my arms back and forth and go, whoa.
He's guiding you with like the glow sticks.
He's guiding me with like, I was the plane, and he's just guiding me into the gate.
Right.
And it's funny because apparently I would do it and everybody's like, yeah, there, look at this white guy's doing that's really fun. And then it would get back to like the weird masochistic shit where he just kind of grab me, just throw me into like throng of people in front of me, and they all get pissed off, but they see it's me and they're like, hey, this guy.
Everybody kind of like did like a synchronized kind of like a sort of group headbang, like kind of certain like parts of the song.
Yeah. And then I pulled out a Pokeball, and then they all pulled out Pokeballs. And then they're like, hey, you crossed my path. We need to have a battle.
Eric is telling this whole story like this is the kind of thing that's sort of been forced on him a little bit. My version of the story, again, I was drinking beer, so I might have
won with a Bulbasaur. I just remember the guy with 2 glow sticks comes
Super
up,
effective.
goes to me, and so they're like, just okay, and he goes, Eric, Eric just yes. He just throws himself into the crowd.
I tried to get away one point. I was like clawing away after the like first 2 songs. I'm like, this is getting too fucking weird. At one song I did feel him grinding up against my back, and then at that point, I'm like, I got to get out. This is too much. It also
did you go back up like twice more after that?
You're so close that like you can feel people breathing on your face, and that just kind of makes me feel weird, especially when you're in this like tiny little basement where it's like completely black and just 50-year-old guys that smell like mothballs and whiskey. It was.
I just remember when everybody was doing like it. Just the venue was very strict. No photos, no videos, and it's which is nice to go in and people aren't just holding up their cell phones and like holding up like a U-line or everything else. But at one point, I just like Eric is with all the other 50-year-old Japanese men. All got their arms around each other. They head banging in sync. I pull out. I get a single photo on my phone. I'll share it with like the group chat after. But then I look up, and the airplane hangar guy has his glow sticks. He's standing right in front of me, and he's going, no.
I want to say too, for the last song they did, like I think it's like the encore song, or maybe it was like the last song of their show.
It was like a real pop idol sort of synchronized.
Everybody, you have to do all the dance moves that you learned earlier from the previous songs in like quick succession. And then by the end, you put your hands out, you do like the little jazz hands, you kind of like flick of their mouth. And what they do, and this is the best part, they come out with like little cheerleader pom-poms and they go, nya, 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 and they pop them off each person's fingers that are sticking up there. And they're like, yeah, nya, 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 and everybody has their fingers. These guys are creaming their pants. I swear not. I did not want to be there by that point. I had worn out my
pulling off they're revealing like a third t-shirt underneath.
Yeah. So at that point, I should have probably just walked away. But the show finished, and I'm like, this was an experience. I look back, John's gone. I was like, you know what?
I was thinking, man, I'll meet you at the vestibule, and then you spent 30 minutes in line waiting in both lines.
You materialized. It was amazing. It was pretty dark. You just kind of materialized out of the dark. You came out of your little sneaky corner, and you're just kind of like, I'm gonna go out there and get a drink. So meet me out there when you're done. And so I went up and met both bands and talked with them. The first band I talked to was Full Moon. Again, it was weird. I went up to them and I talked to them in Japanese. I said, "Hey, I really liked your set. Is which of these CDs did you do you have like the most songs on that you performed tonight?" And they're like buy this one. This one's good. And I was like, "Oh, is this the new one?" They're like, "Yeah, just buy it." They have so much merch at their table. It's crazy. And there's a huge line behind me. I'm like, "I'll just take the CD. Oh, if you could sign it, that'd be great." And they were kind of like, all right, yeah, thanks. It's nice to have a fan, blah, 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 blah. I get up to the next band, which is Arc Royale, and they had a bigger line, but I decided to wait in it. Super fucking friendly people, all of them. The lead singer at one point, like I said, hey, which CD did you guys like do the most songs off tonight? And they're like, all of them. And I looked, and each one's like, I don't know, like $10, $15. And I was like, all right, I'll take them. I listened to them in the car still. They're actually really good. They hold up pretty well.
And then, some of these things can be like a little overproduced, like a little bit overdone.
Yeah.
Depending. But every once in a while,
the Full Moon one, it sounds like straight up anime themes. I can't listen to it. I listened to it once. I was done. But Arc Royale, the best thing about him is I'm sitting there and I just keep talking to the bassist. She's super nice. She just asked me where I'm from and just, talking about music and stuff like that. And the lead singer comes up. She goes, "You're really good at Japanese. Maybe you could teach me." And she kind of like wanders off. As we're sitting there, they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Just taking a..." What?
No, we're good.
And I said, "Come on back here, honey. I got time for you." That didn't happen. They were like, "Hey, this is taking a while to get signatures from the band. You want to sit on the side?" So I'm sitting there. This really greasy pudgeball comes up, and he's all nervous, and he's covered in sweat. And he pulls out his bag. And he goes, "Oh, I didn't have time. I'm so sorry. Oh, I have some gifts for you." And I was like, "Oh shit, what's he gonna break out? Is this gonna be like jewelry?"
The guy talking like one of the band members, not the Arab.
Yeah. He's like, he's gonna be perfume. He wasn't even directing his dialogue towards anybody, just towards the table. And so like the lead singer she kind of fucked off. And then the bassist who was talking to me, she's like, "Oh, what do you got? What you got there?" And he starts pulling out these boxes and slamming them down on the table. And eventually he's got like 5 or 6 boxes on the table. And he's all like, he's sweating hardcore. Like, like they weigh like 1,000,000 pounds or something. He's just like, and he gets them out and they're like, "What is this?" And one of the girls is looking at it and he goes, "Oh, it's argan oil." And she's like, "What?" And it's funny because it turns to, like, I guess something they do with their fans, which they didn't do with me, is they treat them like shit. And so she's just like, "What is this garbage? I'm not going to use this." And he's just like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, mistress. I'm so sorry." And she's like, "Take this back. I don't want this. What am I going to do with this?" He's like, "It's argan oil. Women love argan oil." And he goes, "Hold on. There's more. And he pulls
the guy
out.
with the glow sticks is like, no.
No. Get this guy out of here. Get him out. Directing out. Then he starts pulling out. It's like cold compresses, disposable cold compresses. So if you have a fever, you put it on your forehead, and then it helps you cool off. And he gives them like boxes of these. I'm like, this dude just hit up a pharmacy before he came here, and he just bought whatever's on sale in like the front display or whatever. It was so weird. And they're like, "All right, yeah, I guess we'll take them or something." And they just kind of tossed him off into a box. And he's just like, "All right, I'll take the new towel. I want the new towel." And they sold him a towel. It was so weird. He definitely needed that towel. But
this entire show was 3,500 yen, which by the current exchange rate is $23.78 American, and that includes that includes a beer. And like
it was
the entertainment value.
It was a good show, honestly. Unforgettable night for good and bad reasons. John liked it, so that's what makes me happy. John had a good
two nights I've spent at that venue. It was the less crazy one by like about a mile and a half. It was amazing. It was just like this is something I've been telling Eric about for years. You have to see like these small underground rock shows. It's just like I miss probably 60, 70, 80% of what's going on because I really don't speak a word of Japanese. But I was so thrilled we got to go to like this weird little venue. I was just. It's a bit nerve-wracking when you've been building something up for so long, and you're just like you're taking your friend, and you just like the whole time you're kind of like on edge at first because like I don't want this to be just like a dull bummer thing. Like after like
what kind of person I am. I would be down for this. So I mean, it could have been some.
You never know at the end of the day, but it's so we got in there, we watched about like 30 seconds of the first band play, and I'm like, this night is already going to like exceed expectations.
Yeah. I mean, you've heard them before, right?
The first one
band?
I'd seen in Kichijoji, which is
okay.
Big shows. So I had my fingers crossed. It was it meant a lot to me that we.
I actually checked out on YouTube some of their previous shows for like both bands and huge like some huge crowds depending on where they played. There was one that was in like Sapporo. And Sapporo is well known for like a lot of like punk rock and stuff like that, and huge crowds, like a couple hundred people.
So, some of the Japanese acts that you'd see just like on a random night for like $20-$30, like in Tokyo, it spins my brain out. Like, why are these people not famous here? Certainly, why are these people kind of not famous like back in the States?
Dude, baby metal. I don't know why baby metal works so well
it's
for so many people.
It's a novelty act.
Like anything that they're giving you, all these other bands. I mean, that was the thing. They were so good at playing music.
Yeah.
I didn't hear like any fault at all in anything they played. I mean, I might not have liked all of it, but at the same time, it just kept coming and coming and coming. And I mean, the CDs don't do what they did out there any justice. So next time you visit, Andy. Next time you're around, or Naveen, you want to go check out a show?
Hell yeah!
John's got a creepy basement for you.
That was Antinaka's Nice Now. I'll put a pin in my little story about that place from a few years earlier. But it's good times all around. So, coming attractions next week. Andy, do you want to say a few words about the movie you got picked out?
So I picked Blade Runner 2049
as a superior sequel.
As a superior sequel to the original Blade Runner, which I'm sure is blasphemy to most people that would actually watch or listen to our show. But I stand by the fact that Blade Runner, the original, is a boring movie, and the sequel is not boring at all.
All right. So say no more. Let's say with the pod.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got that coming up next week. I believe special guests from the Valkenvania episode. Naveen's brother Napoleon is also going to be joining us for that. And then the following week, we have another little kind of like a short topics kind of symposium style show, Rep Talks. And Andy and myself are going to be presenting for that one. Andy, do you want to do the reveal now for our topics?
I'm still undecided, so no.
Okay. Put a pin in that for a bit.
Wait, what about you, John? Did you pick out your topic?
Yeah, but I'll wait for Andy to kind of figure out his. If he's doing the same thing, if he's just like, I want to be a wasteland chef, then I don't.
I take that course, How to Be a Wasteland Chef 101.
Dogs
get a can opener.
Confit. It's just just to see if dogs get the spices right. Okay, I think that should be our show. So that was episode 22. Thank you everybody for listening. I believe this is planned on our first first upload for an actual episode to the new YouTube channel that we have put together. So if you enjoyed that, I guess the thing to say is like and subscribe. But in any kind of case, thank you, listeners and gentlemen. Thank you all. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Sweet. Thanks, guys.
Take care.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.